Hi, it's Andrea Foulkes, speaking to you from the countryside of Avalon, and greetings from me and you from nature. Yay! Woo! Aren't they beautiful? They're like angel kisses blowing in the wind. What do I want to talk about today? Well, in the world of evolving consciousness, awakening, enlightenment, where humanity are at just now, I feel the word that comes to mind today is projection. You know, we're doing a lot of projection onto people, and I think what's happening is, this is my Scooby-Doo take on it, we've had a lot of people wake up to their light frequency. So they wake up to being a being of light, but they've maybe come through a very unconscious birthing experience when they came to planet Earth in this lifetime. You know, we're all at different levels of awakening and soul consciousness, so we can't project the same skills, gifts, and level of consciousness onto other people because they're in a different experience, a different level of consciousness. So what's happened for a lot of people is, and I'm seeing this with clients, they've come here as infinite consciousness to planet Earth. Like they came here, they maybe didn't hold so much karma, but they've taken on ancestral karma. And the reason they've taken on ancestral karma is because when they were in the womb to present day, they didn't go through a conscious birthing experience. So all the frequencies of the third dimension, and from having maybe an unconscious family, but from a higher soul perspective, thinking, oh God, this is great. This is the perfect family for me to incarnate into. I can achieve what I need to achieve. But what I'm seeing for a lot of souls is there was a naivety, maybe an innocence and naivety of the experience of the birthing experience and the first 7 years of your life that's got slightly corrupted now. So they didn't stay in their own light frequency, and what they had to do was, for your survival, and I've mentioned this before, they took on the energy field of the primary carer, which tends to be the mother or the grandmother for a lot of people. Rarely it's the father or the adopted parent. So they didn't stay in their light frequency. So what happens if you don't stay in your light frequency? You have to take on the energy of the primary carer. So they start to read their timelines. They take on ancestral karma. So although you may have come here without many past lives to process yourself, you take on this heavy-duty ancestral karma, which you then project sometimes as being your past lives. And it isn't always the case. You know, the way I work, I can discern your past lives from ancestral past lives, and then we take on entities in our energy field. Many people have hoovered up entities even from being in the womb. So they haven't had this incarnation without the entity being attached, because they took on the energy field. They lost their light frequency even in the womb, because they took on the consciousness of the parent, who was maybe in fear or guilt or shame or lack, whatever the projection of the emotion was, and they forgot that they were a being of light. And so although a lot of light frequency people have come here and they're trying to share now what they came here to share, which was from remembering that they were a being of light with a high frequency, they're sharing it through a distorted consciousness. And what's happened by sharing through a distorted consciousness and having not healed their own wounding from being in the womb to present day in this lifetime, and thus having taken on the ancestral karma as well that they need to work through, they're bringing through messages from a distorted timeline. You know, they're very much in thought form deity messages. So what do I mean by thought form deity? Well, it wasn't a few hundred years ago we fell from grace. It was thousands of years ago we fell from grace. We started to forget the light that we are, the light that I am. And we started to worship deities and thought forms. And when I say deities, they were thought forms created by man, who projected something more powerful than himself outside of himself. Be that Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, you projected goddesses, gods to be more powerful than you were. So we have a lot of people now who buy into belief systems of deities. So what happens when you believe in belief systems of deities is you start to project messages from thought form deities built up from thousands of years on planet Earth. So when you give it that much power, you give them a physical presence. You know, we all in our mind's eye have a physical belief system, a presence we would project to what we believe Mary Magdalene looks like, what we believe Jesus looks like. Do we know that those beings existed? You know, if you study the history of all religions, they all have a deity that's very similar to Jesus. You know, the Persians have Mithra faith. So there comes a commonality. I'm getting the buds in my mouth. There comes a commonality that a lot of spiritual teachers are teaching distorted belief systems from thought form deities that we've come to worship. We've made effigies of them. But it's not about our own cosmic light. We've projected stories onto deities and belief systems, and they've been going on for thousands of years. We've written books about them. We've written books about the teachings of the deities. And even if they were like cosmic beings, you know, when you see some people who have some truth, they have truth in what they're teaching, but they are adamant. I mean, we have people in Glastonbury who are adamant that they're Mary Magdalene or adamant that they're Jesus. But then I know 10 other people who are also adamant that they're Jesus and they're Mary and they're some other ascended master. So how can that be? They can't all be right, but they can't all be wrong. So what's going on? Well, maybe there is a light of truth within the knowledge they have. Like they do know some sacred teachings from mystery schools. And there may be 80, 90%, even maybe a higher percentage of the truth. But when it comes down to the final bit, they project it onto a deity. Even if they themselves now are claiming to be the embodiment of the deity. But then so are other people claiming to be the embodiment of the deity. So what's going on? Maybe the fragment of that light consciousness had to go into lots of different people, but the ego of the human claims, no, I am the only one. I am the only one. Well, maybe they're all facets of that light frequency. But what if that light frequency was never really a physical human? What if that light frequency was just a teaching about the light, and we projected it into a physical being, and we projected a story onto that physical being, and we've passed it down through thousands of years, and now we believe it to be a truth. We believe it to have been a physical human in the period of eons of time of history of planet Earth. What if that person didn't ever really exist? What if it was a fake belief system of spiritual teachings to beseech a deity outside of ourselves? And it would suit the man-made belief system of spirituality and religion, because we'll never find our own divinity. We'll never find our own cosmic light of who we truly are if we keep believing that we're an aspect of a celebrity spiritual teacher from 2,000 years ago. So what if we just face ourselves and be the light, be the light that we truly are, teach from a place of infinite wisdom, of coming from some star system eons ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, millions of years ago even. What if we accept that ingrained in our DNA are belief systems about coming from different star systems, and even them might be distorted also, because they're coming from a belief system of maybe 1 million or so years ago, when we spent time on the Pleiades, when we spent time in Sirius, Orion, all those different planets. I'm not to deny they may be a truth, you may have spent time there, but outside of all those star systems, your infinite consciousness itself. Yes, you can maybe collect and tap into that infinite consciousness from those star systems that you are, because that knowledge may have use on planet Earth right now. only you can know the truth in your heart. And the truth is obviously going to set you free, because you want to remove yourself from distorted timelines where you have to beseech a deity, where you have to follow teachings, where you have to bring in channeled messages from other deities, where you can't say, well, you know, I'm going to bring in this infinite consciousness today and I'm going to speak as infinite consciousness, but I'm going to not say it's coming through Archangel Michael, it's not coming through through Jesus or Mary or Allah or Buddha or Jesus or God. What if it's just coming through me, speaking as my infinite consciousness self, as a fractal of source of the universe? I am speaking as a fractal. I'm speaking as a fractal that has some ability to tune into infinite consciousness, and I shall speak as infinite consciousness. That's where I feel we need to come from. And everything I've learned from my experience of regressing people is to clear all these fake timelines where we beseech angels, deities outside of ourselves. Yet bring in the angelic version of you. There was a timeline through the thousands and thousands of years where you had an angelic version of you. But stop beseeching deities outside of us so we never find our own true divinity, which lies inside of us and which is our connection to all this, to nature. You know, that you're an aspect of all this around me. You're an aspect of the sun that's shining down on me. You're an aspect of the grass. You are an aspect of the infinite expressing itself in human form. So you're an aspect of the cosmos experiencing itself at this point in time on planet Earth. Anyway, I just wanted to share that for today. I just show you where I am. It's like a beautiful countryside here near my house. So much love for today. They're not necessarily answers. They're questions, I suppose, and within the questions is always the answers. So much love, many blessings. It's Andrea Foulkes, and if you want to have other YouTube clips and a website, you can go to and see the other work that I do. And I'm going to leave you with a little light language frequency, which is the sound of our souls, beyond time, beyond sound, of the spoken word, and just in a frequency of sound. So I'm just going to put my laptop here and yeah. Okamoya kasimia nia kimia. Okokoya kakoya kasimia nia kimia. Asamoya ikimia ikimia. Okokoya kasimia nia ikimia okokoya.